The cargo was untouched, food was still on the table, yet every single person had vanished. No blood, no signs of a struggle, just an empty vessel drifting aimlessly across the Atlantic Ocean. What happened to the crew? Chapter 1. The Ghost on the Horizon. It's December 4th, 1872. The crew of the British ship Dei Gratia is sailing through rough waters. Captain David Morehouse peers through his telescope. He spots a shape on the horizon. It's moving strangely. The sails are set awkwardly. It's zigzagging as if the helmsman is completely blind or drunk. Morehouse feels a chill. He knows this ship. It's the Mary Celeste. Its Captain Benjamin Briggs is a close friend of Morehouse. Briggs is an experienced, deeply religious, and highly capable seaman. He wouldn't let his ship drift like a piece of dead wood. Not willingly. Briggs wasn't alone on this voyage. He brought his wife, he brought his toddler daughter, and 7 elite crew members. Morehouse signals the Mary Celeste. No response. He yells through a megaphone. Only the sound of the wind answers back. Morehouse orders his first mate, Oliver DeVoe, to take a small boat and board her. DeVoe climbs up the side of the Mary Celeste. He steps onto the deck, and that is when the true nightmare begins. Chapter 2. The eerie silence of the deck. DeVoe shouts out, "Hello? Is anyone aboard?" Nothing. Just the sound of flapping canvas overhead. The ship is a ghost town floating on water. The wheel is spinning wildly. There is nobody steering. DeVoe walks toward the captain's cabin. He pushes the door open. What he finds inside makes no sense. The rumors say food was still hot on the table. That part is a myth added later by newspapers, but the reality was even weirder. The family's personal items were completely untouched. Sarah's sewing machine sat right where she left it. Sophia's toys were neatly put away. Valuables were everywhere. Gold money, expensive clothing. If pirates had attacked, this would be gone. If the crew had mutinied, they would have stolen the money. But everything was right there. DeVoe checks the cargo hold. The ship is carrying 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol. It's worth a fortune. It is completely intact. So why did 10 people abandon a perfectly good ship? DeVoe checks the water level in the hull. There is some water about 3.5 feet, but for a ship this size, that's nothing. It's totally seaworthy. The ship is not sinking. Then DeVoe notices the biggest clue of all. The ship's only lifeboat is missing. They left on purpose. But why? What could terrify an expert captain so badly that he would throw his family into a tiny lifeboat in the middle of the ocean? Chapter 3. The clues left behind. To find out, DeVoe searches for the ship's logbook. He finds it in the mate's cabin. The last entry is from 9 days earlier, November 25th. It places the ship near Santa Maria Island in the Azores, nearly 400 miles away from where they found it. Think about that. For 9 whole days, this massive ship sailed itself through changing winds and ocean currents. It didn't crash, it didn't capsize, it just kept going, like a phantom. But as DeVoe looks closer, he finds signs of a hurried escape. The ship's chronometer and navigation papers are missing. The captain's compass is destroyed. And there's a strange rope dangling from the stern, trailing far back into the water. Why would they tie a rope to the back of the ship? Let's look at the timeline. On November 7th, the ship leaves New York for Genoa, Italy. The weather is terrible for days. Heavy rain, brutal winds. Sarah Briggs writes letters home mentioning how rough the sea is. Yet the logbook mentions nothing unusual on November 25th. It was a normal morning. Then suddenly, within a matter of minutes, something happens. Something so alarming that Captain Briggs orders everyone into the lifeboat instantly. They don't even pack extra clothes. They don't take food. They just jump. What was that terrifying trigger? When the Dei Gratia crew brings the Mary Celeste into Gibraltar, investigators think they know the answer, and they point the finger at a horrific crime. Chapter 4. Blood, alcohol, and murder. The British authorities in Gibraltar are suspicious. They don't buy the ghost story. They think something sinister happened on the high seas. A salvage court is launched. The lead investigator is a man named Frederick Solly Flood. Solly Flood inspects the ship. He finds what he thinks are deep cuts on the bow, as if someone used an axe. Then he finds a sword under Captain Briggs's bed. It has dark stains on the blade. He declares it's blood. His theory? A bloody mutiny. The crew must have gotten into the cargo. Remember, there were 1,701 barrels of alcohol on board. Flood argues the crew got drunk, murdered. The captain killed his wife and little girl and escaped on the lifeboat with the stolen valuables. It sounds plausible, except for one major flaw. The money was still there. Why commit murder for profit and leave the profit behind? Furthermore, a chemical analysis is done on the sword and the deck stains. The results shock the court. It isn't blood at all. It's just rust and old fruit juice. The cut marks on the ship? Just natural wear and tear from the ocean waves. So Flood pivots to a new target, Captain Morehouse, the man who found the ship. Under maritime law, anyone who rescues an abandoned ship at sea gets a massive financial reward, a salvage payout. Did Morehouse attack the Mary Celeste, kill everyone, and pretend to find it to collect the cash? It turns out the two captains had dinner together in New York just days before setting sail. They were good friends. Morehouse's ship left 8 days after Briggs. There is no way he could have caught up and staged an ambush without someone noticing. The court finds no evidence of foul play. Morehouse gets a tiny fraction of the prize money because the judges still smell a rat. The murder theories collapse, but if it wasn't human violence, it had to be a force of nature. And the next theory involves a monster from the deep that science is only now starting to understand. Chapter 5: The Invisible Killer. If no one killed them, what scared them off? For decades, people blamed a sea monster or a giant squid. But let's look at scientific explanations. Some historians believe the ship was hit by a waterspout. A waterspout is essentially a tornado at sea. If a waterspout hit the Mary Celeste, it could have created a sudden massive drop in air pressure. This would cause the water pumps to malfunction, tricking the captain into thinking the ship was taking on way more water than it actually was. Imagine the panic. The sky goes black. The pumps fail. Briggs looks at his wife and baby. He thinks the ship is sinking to the bottom of the ocean. He orders everyone into the lifeboat immediately to save their lives. But there's another, even more terrifying environmental theory. Seaquakes. An underwater earthquake could have rocked the ship violently. Remember those 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol? When the ship was later unloaded in Genoa, it was discovered that 9 barrels were completely empty. They were made of porous red oak, unlike the others, which were white oak. The alcohol had leaked out. In the hot, humid, crowded cargo hold, that leaked alcohol would have vaporized. The air beneath the deck would be filled with highly explosive toxic fumes. One tiny spark from friction could cause a massive explosion, or the fumes were so strong they began suffocating the crew. Briggs opens the hatch. A cloud of toxic gas hits his face. He thinks the ship is about to blow sky high. He has to get his family away from this floating bomb, right now. This explains the rope trailing behind the ship. Briggs didn't want to abandon the Mary Celeste permanently. He wanted to tie the lifeboat to the main ship with a long line. They would sit safely at a distance, wait for the gas fumes to clear out, and then climb back on board. It was a perfect plan, until nature pulled a cruel trick. A sudden, violent storm gust hits the area. The heavy Mary Celeste, with its sails still up, surges forward with incredible speed. The rope violently snaps. In seconds, the lifeboat is left behind. 10 people, including a mother and her toddler, are stuck in a tiny wooden boat with no food, no water, and no way to steer. They watch in absolute horror as their safe, dry ship sails away from them, completely unmanned. They were never seen again. No wreckage of the lifeboat was ever found. No bodies ever washed ashore. The ocean swallowed them whole. The Mary Celeste kept sailing as a ghost because its sails were set to capture the wind, acting as a crude automatic pilot until the Dei Gratia found it. The ship itself seemed cursed after that. It changed hands 17 times over the next 13 years. Owners went bankrupt. Sailors refused to work on it. Finally, in 1885, a desperate captain intentionally wrecked it on a reef off the coast of Haiti just to collect insurance money. The sea claimed the ship just as it claimed the crew. To this day, the Mary Celeste remains history's greatest maritime puzzle. A mystery where every answer only creates more questions. What theory do you believe? Was it toxic fumes, an insurance scam, or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to uncover more of history's most terrifying unsolved mysteries, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't miss our next investigation. Thanks for watching and see you next time.